Hey YouTube, and welcome back to UniXTCG. This is going to be the first video that I'm putting out after Dragon Ball Super Fusion World Nationals, and without going into detail in this video, I went 6-2. My tiebreakers were not good enough to put me in the top 16, so that is what it is. If you want to do a full comprehensive breakdown, and you can just let me know in the comments, and I'll do another video for that. But this video is going to be about the top 16 list, what stood out to me, and it's not just about seeing the cards that make them up, it's about understanding why they were put there, and seeing how the meta calls were made before you even walked into this Wild Wild West format. And the reason for that is, you're never going to make big splashes like these top 16ers by following the trends. You have to understand the trends, predict the trends, and make the correct meta calls. And that is what I want to help you do with my content. Now, speaking of that deeper dive, I do have my Patreon, and for you Patreon members that have been waiting patiently, this week we're going to get the giveaway, the fabled giveaway finally finished, and then we're going to start the new one. And the first thing I'm putting in that new giveaway is the second Jiren and UI Goku marker that I won at the event. So with that out of the way, because I'm not getting cooked again with that phrase that I guess say too much, let's get into the content. And if you love the content, maybe subscribe, maybe check out my other channels, and yeah, everything's in the description. So let's go. So we're gonna start this off by quoting a very wise man in history who said, "Sometimes when you're right, you just gotta talk your ish." And I do believe that guy was Gandhi, but don't quote me on that. And what I mean is just like, there are gonna be some texts that you're gonna see a lot in these top 16 lists that I hammered in on my Patreon, in my Discord, if people asked me, talked about it on my channel every now and then. And I just have to take pride in that. So yeah, all right, point being, this is the DBS god, also known by the wide majority of Masters players as Anthony Hernandez. Basically, it's just a Bardock deck. Bardock is a very strong, aggressive tempo deck, and there's only a few additions from this set that weren't there before. You've got the giant grade 8 baby, which is just going to, you know, grade 8 baby is just going to be able to remove a lot of 3Ks. There's a lot of good value in the 3K slot. And there's a lot of cards that you definitely want off the board from that range. You don't want to keep red Gohans and set set 2 Gohans in there on the board, and this guy combos away. You don't want to keep 30K Nappas from the newest set. You don't want to keep Vegetos. You don't want to keep Videls. These are all things you can combo away, and they still have to give you a card or even 2 sometimes to get out of baby's swing. So yeah, that's a really good one. Then you have the addition of the new Trunks, and we all knew that the SR was just too good. As long as you can keep making your energy markers, and this deck does indeed have the Super Saiyan 4 Gokus. It has like the Super Saiyan 3 Gokus, and then yeah, that's actually kind of it. So as long as you can keep up your marker, you can protect your field, and that is just paramount in keeping your momentum going. The 2-drop Goten Brainwash, I personally have been saying for weeks now that is at least a 2 of them in every black deck, because there's a lot of good value at the 4-cost slot, and some of them are very sticky, i.e. Jiren 4-cost. And normally you have to rely on Pan, you have to hold her in hand, but this is good because in the matchups that use Jiren, they're normally not trying to take damage, or they're Jiren himself, which not only is not trying to take damage, but can also, you know, draw ability and cards. So when you're swinging with a card and then you combo the Goten from the field, you're already going from 20 to 30 or from 25 to 35. Then you're bouncing the Jiren before they can use the effect, and then you're forcing them to come out of their hand with at least a super combo to, you know, 2 cards depending on what you combo to, and that's brilliant. You're getting rid of the problem and forcing cards to their hand. The exact opposite. He is not sticking, they are not drawing. That's the exact opposite of what you want a Jiren deck to do. So very, very, very good. And then you have Glorio. Glorio is just a very, very, very good card. You can, if your opponent is if anybody has the energy marker, he's a 2. So 2 for 25 is just strong. But the fact that if your opponent has the energy marker, you get to draw, it pretty much forces your opponent into a weird box where if they have the marker, they have to either burn it to not have this 25K come down and draw them a card, or you're like, you know, just kind of stuck with it. And we're going to talk about this a little later because this gets even more nuanced when it comes to the baby matchup. So I'm going to talk about that more later and save that for then. But the only thing that's weird about this list is no Kakarot. And that's kind of odd because, yes, if you go second, Glorio, if you go first, Glorio will do a lot in the matchup, yeah? But one of the best black high rolls, in my opinion, like, you know, like, you can always call me out, is when they tell you to go first and you open Kakarot, because then you've given away every advantage of going second to them. They're up on energy. They have the energy marker. You're going to get turn 3 SER'd if they see it. It just can go very downhill from there, but I digress. Moving on to the 15th place list. Give a shout out to my homie Doug. This is a guy from my local shout out gaming giant in Fairfax, Virginia. And yeah, we go back and forth on all of our bickering. I'm proud of the baby choice because he was on Jiren and I was like, bro, please. Let's hash this out. And we had a testing session between his Jiren and my androids, and by the end of that testing session he was like, so I'm not taking Jiren to nationals. And I was like, that's right, buddy, because through testing I felt like Jiren was free to too many matchups. And so yeah, now he's over here with this and he piloted it all the way to a 6-2 finish. His only losses were pretty high up there as well, because I believe he took one like in the middle of the tournament, one towards the end. And you can see this is the only, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only baby in Top Cut that is full aggro build. He's got the Super Sigma so that he can bounce with Rildo. He's got the whole Rildo line. So this is all gas, no brakes. There's no utility in here. It's just straight aggression. I do know from him that like Super Sigma was the worst card in his deck. I wish we could have talked about his baby list, because last time we talked, I thought he was on Bardock, and then I found out he was on Baby. I would have told him immediately the Super Sigma was not it, and we might have actually had a talk about this list. But he piloted it to perfection as far as he could, and yeah, that was awesome. So shout outs to the dude Doug, and we're just all happy from the GG family. Now moving on to the next one, we got Tony himself. And Tony himself is running a baby list, and this is the baby list that I think is like really cool, because you're essentially scooping out the 12 Rildo cards and just playing 12 generically good black cards. And what you get when you do that is you have Self-Awakening. Generally, I mean, you have the Trunks already. There's generally some copies of the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but that's going to allow you to not get starved, which is very important, and we'll talk about that one later. You've got the Kakarots in this build to make sure that he has the energy marker whenever, and the Super Saiyan 4s are going to keep helping you draw. Between Super Saiyan 4 and Trunks, you are recycling and drawing so many cards that you are going to just be at a point where your opponent is just bodied by advantage. But this isn't even the full advantage build. And like I said, once we get to those, we're going to start talking about that a lot. But yeah, this is definitely more of the mid-range baby. And what you guys are going to have to understand is that while most people saw babies in aggro deck, the people in the top 16 and the people that didn't make the top 16 that run this list, they were playing a baby deck that used the baby package as an advantage engine. Look at this. Playing out a 2-drop for 1 while getting combo power. Recycling Brainwash from the trash. Self-Awakening and getting an energy marker back. Bouncing cards. Drawing cards while you combo, and if you have the deck space for it, getting the energy marker. Or sorry, getting a extra card played for 2 reduced costs. This is an advantage package. And then they're just playing good numbers. You swing so many 30s. Like, this is a 10k, this is a 10k, this is a 10k, this is a 10k. Almost every time you turn a 20k sideways, it can go to 30k after a certain part of the game, and that's what's powerful about it. Now, then and then also, I guess the one other thing I was gonna say is that baby child. A lot of people were up and down on that, but yes, not only is he a combo extender, but he can sometimes just be so good. When you have 6 energy and you play Bardock and then you play Baby, you have the ability to, you know, attack with your leader, combo up with 230 with your baby child, and then this guy can play out a Bola. This guy can play out a Goten, and then you can combo with it from your field, activate Bardock's effect to pop something, and still get that effect too. So yeah, it's amazing. This enables Bardock so easily to get those to get his combo effects while comboing from your field to get all your brainwash effects. Okay, we're gonna move on. Took a lot of time talking about that, my bad. Next, we have Satan City, and this Satan City is a very aggressive one. You may think blue and aggression don't go hand in hand, but just to let you know, this right here, this Videl, right? You're able to pop it back to your hand if the top card of your deck is a Satan City. You can play a Videl with 2 costs from your hand. So just this one is going to allow you to be able to play this 20k beater or you can play the Videl here, and they're at max copies, so you can always have that. But then on top of that, you also, well, almost max copies, you also have this one that just came out. If you have 7 fewer cards in hand, you can play up to 1 skillless Great Sandman from your drop, which will be this one. That also comes in a really beautiful TP, but this is going to make more beats. So you've got multiple cards that'll circumvene the costs. I mean, this is playing 8 for 4, as long as you have 7 or less cards in hand, and then you have the Videl playing 2 for 1. Outside of that, you've got the Erase a Searcher, right? And out of this entire deck, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards out of 50 that are in Satan City. So half the time you can just do a blind flip and it's going to work. If it doesn't, Kami doesn't like you. It's just kind of how it is. RNGesus is not on your side. But you do have the ability to have removal on Gohan. You can play him early with this. There's no peel off in this deck for consistency, I believe, but you can Videl back the Orange Star High School because it is an Earthling card. So you can get that back. You have the ability to stack up the you prefer girls with short hair. And then for you guys that were here with me when I was talking about my initial Vegeta list in set 3, Videl, 2 Videls and a Final Hope Sword can do more work than, like, I don't even know. Like, it's gross. You have a singular Videl in hand, and then you play Videl and you attack and you get the Videl out, or Videl out of your trash. Not Videl out of your trash. You just basically get whatever you need out of your drop. And then you play another Videl and you attack, and you can actually just play Final Hope Slash on her and bounce the other Videl to your hand to swing for 40k minimum. Then you can play the other Videl. The other Videl swings and you play out Final Hope Slash, you bounce the other Videl. You have a very loopable thing. And normally you're not going to be doing that because that's very, very energy intensive. But there have been games in the past where I have cleared out somebody by, like, they pass and I still have my Videl. And I look at the other Videl in my hand, I'm like, wow, this is trash. Charge to 8 and then just swing on them with Videl at least like 3 times for 40. It's just pretty gross. So yeah, the finisher is going to be Vegeta here. 40k 2 times is a horrendous number for almost any deck that late in the game. So yeah, and then the only removal outside of Gohan and then pseudo removal with this guy bouncing is going to be Great Sandman. Also note that Final Hope Slash can bounce Trunks back to the hand. So you can use Final Hope Slash to bounce Trunks and they don't play it again the following turn, follow up with Gohan and bottom deck things on the board. So I think that's pretty cool. Now we're on to the lone Vegeta list, and this guy is a little spicy, but once again, I'm gonna take pride in some things I'm seeing here. So you've got the Marin. This is a very, very good card for consistency, and you're gonna start seeing it in a lot more blue decks that aren't Satan City based. Just on play, 7 fewer cards in hand, place the top card of your deck, or check the top card of your deck and place it at the top or bottom of its owner's deck, then draw a card. So this is either checking the top card of your deck, and if you like it, you just pop it in the hand. If you don't like it, you bottom deck it, and it's out of the way for later. It's only a 5k combo, but it's very good for consistency. I talked about this a couple times on my channel, more so on my Patreon. I do believe that outside of Satan City, and even maybe in that deck, depending on what your numbers look like for everything else, this is a necessary 3 of in blue right now because you never want to get pinned behind a Trunks, and that could ruin your day. However, Goten being a 1-drop makes some very good plays. If you have 4 energy and they have, Trunks, Secret Rare, and Super Saiyan 3 Goku, or Trunks and 2 Secret Rares, you can play Sun Goten for 1 to bounce the Trunks, and then tap 3 for Sickle to bottom deck 2 Super Secret Rares. And that's a lot of pressure to take off you, and pressure that they couldn't even interact with the cards they just drew. So that's actually really, really cool, but I think that Goten is just very important to circumvening that. Also, in other matchups, yes, you're giving them a 10k in hand, but like red matchups that use the Daima Goku, you can put this back in their hand and just be like, yeah, okay, I'm good, no thank you. And then if they're at 4 or less life, they probably won't try to use it until they're going for a game, or you can force them to combo it out. So that's pretty cool. Sorry, I almost called to run out of the desk. You have the crit Vegeta, you have Mai for some level control, peel off makes sense. I don't really necessarily love the Gotenks, even though it only goes into 1 Gotenks, but it clearly worked, and it is a 10k. Videl at 2 was a very interesting choice. This is one of the better cards in blue, but once again, obviously he made the run. I do have to think that this deck dodged green a lot, because Androids just made Vegeta feel so free. Like, no offense, it's no offense at all, because I love both. Like, I respect both Vegetas I played in Nats, but like I was looking at my hand like, dang, I don't think they can do anything about this pace of ramp, and then just like this. So it's like, it's interesting. Now the 4 Trunks, that's hefty, and the reset's cool. That's also gonna give you a lot of spot removal. You could literally bounce a Trunks and then play this for 3 and bounce the secret rare, and then they have no cards on the board. Yes, they can replay them. They could charge up to 5, play out the secret rare using the marker, swing with the secret rare, get another, get the marker back, and then they can play out Trunks again. But then they don't have the protection, so I guess that is kind of where the cascade goes. You can put your opponent in some very awkward positions. This Vegito is the one that vexes me, because there's not a lot. There's like almost every color looks at him, sneezes, and he just evaporates. So I don't know about that one. But this is also pretty cool. He's a 10k, and if you have to discard, or if you've gotten some of these blown up, like you might have comboed with Vegeta, you might have gotten Vegito, you might have gotten Vegetos blown up, you can play this Vegito and then tap 2. So for 6, you can just play either one of these from the drop. And this Vegito is very, very, very strong. So I like everything about this. Some of the numbers look a little low for me, but clearly he tested it. He was okay with his ratios, and he came through. So congratulations, Mendes. Then we're going to go over to Gabriel's baby deck. This one, oh, okay, so there are 2 aggro decks. That's my apologies. So this is another all gas, no breaks deck. There isn't anything particularly crazy stand out about this one. It looks very much so like the other one. Yeah, 4 Glorios for the beatdown. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Congratulations, Mr. Gabriel. Sorry I didn't have as much to say about your deck, but yeah, like the aggro baby deck is pretty similar. Now we're going to go to the first Majin Buu deck. This is Pop E. We have 2 Majin Buus in the top 16, and they both played very, very, very differently. So you can see, and this is like just, it's a split push. This archetype alone can put out pressure like you wouldn't believe. So you can see that when the deck card is not the archetype card, it is 100% utility. You have a guy that prevents your opponent from blowing up your cards, but he can also play a 1-drop. You have a Goku that can tap down things to keep them from pressuring your life while you're trying to end your game. You have Frieza, and I always liked Frieza in Buu. I just understand that sometimes Buu is not trying to go up to 6 and play just 1 card. But when your Frieza is out, in some cases, you force a lot of decks to play at your level. Vegito cannot bounce this, not Vegito, Vegito 5 cannot bounce this. There's a very nasty interaction with Vegito 6 because he'll come into play rest mode and you just mill 5 and just like untap him and bounce this, so that kind of sucks. But you do have Vegito 5, you do have Super Saiyan 3, or sorry, Super Saiyan 3, Ultra Instinct Goku SER, you have most of the double strikers, you have Broly. Those things will literally just come into play and not be able to really impact the board more than they're coming to play effects. So this is a very, very cool card to cap it off at. Of course, Final Hope Explosion is like the MVP of yellow removal. We've got a blind spot absorption, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty, you just pretty much have good Buu. You know, you have your Self-Awakeners. He has 6 total Self-Awakeners. This deck struggles to find space with it, but you need it because stalling Buu really sucks. The Double Strikers, the Swole Boos, the Bobbities, they can go into, you know, this one, which is just the master stroke. You really are able just to keep dropping cards from people's hand, pressure cards into their hand, and then drop them by effect, and then drop more as you swing. That is the way. So yeah, congratulations to Poppy. Now we are at Leet Kitchen. And Leet Kitchen is another Orin High School deck, and it's actually just like pretty cool. So this guy is way, way closer to something that I would play, I think. The 4 Pilafs I just find to be indispensable. Your board is so set up, you rarely want to Zeno, so this is just really just an oh, oops, in case button. You have got the Great Saiyaman for the removal, and it can get up pretty high this time, specifically because of this, and you have the Girls with Short Hair. So out of this 50 cards, you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 12. So 38 of them are Satan City, and you should be able to do blind flips with this deck. So shout outs to Leet Kitchen. That is pretty cool. Now, real quick, I'm going to go into a message for our sponsors, Mystic TCG, and they're just gonna let you know what they're up to. I'm making a new advert. It's just not done yet. Just got back from Nats, that spin, and haven't gone to sleep yet. About to make this video, then go to sleep. But yeah, check out that message, and then stay tuned for the rest of this breakdown, and then we're gonna talk about the bracket. All right, y'all, taking a quick moment to shout out the sponsors for this video. First up is Mystic TCG, a store based in Missouri that sells all sorts of TCG product, even more than what you see featured here on this page. They also buy singles, collections, and prize cards, so make sure you actually catch them out in their store in Missouri at an event, or even on their Facebook, just to be able to see the events here, but also ask them what they're up to and what they're looking for in terms of vending. You can also use the code UNIXTCG to get discounts off your pre-orders as well as orders, so make sure you get your TCG product while it's hot. And we're always up to all sorts of things in Universe X, so you can go down the description and check the link tree to find out about my other channels, my Twitch, or any other avenues that I'm creating content on. And I'll always appreciate the help from you guys. So with that being said, let's get back to the video. Okay, so the next one is this baby list by Emil. And this is where I really want to kind of settle in, because a lot of people should know by now that Emil, Dovale, Jonathan, they roll together. And if I'm not mistaken, this baby list was Emil's like baby, and then the whole team realized that it was just the best chance of winning that, and they rolled with it. And I believe Jonathan had some unfortunate bracket matchup, but like he did go down to, I think, yeah, he basically had some unfortunate luck getting paired up against Devol when they were both, when Devol was X1 and he was X2, so that was unfortunate for them. But they're all teammates, so they took it in stride. And then Emil, Emil played against one of the other guys in the top 8 in the finals in the LCQ, and then he came through again today to run it back for more top 8 goodness. But here we go. You have the 4 babies. Yeah, you got the 2 par bros. The bull is here, because even though I said that they are on the team and they run this differently, it's very telling. Emil had experience with a certain androids list, and I'm gonna dive into that once we get to randoms list, because there was a chunk of people all sharing like ideas and testing. So like my list, my couple friends list who was on the androids, randoms list, we were all within like 4 or 5 cards of each other, because we were essentially on the same strategy. And playing randoms in the LCQ showed Emil, I guess, what happened. I'm not sure if this was in there the day before or always, but one of our strategies was, when you play against baby, do not touch their life. Let them play all 4 self-awakeners, because once we get to 8 energy, we can start playing 6 drops with a Hercule, 6 drops with an earth-destroying Kamehameha, and we can really just start keeping ourselves alive while advancing our board state. And once we get to 12 energy, that's when it becomes game. When you can get Broly'd, and we still can play a Hercule to get back combo power while still having energy up for EDK, that is when you won't break through the wall that we can create. So you can play it very slowly, very methodically. So normally baby doesn't have to play too many self-awakeners, but this list has a full like 12 self-awakeners to make sure that if you realize you're being stalled, you can turn on the gas immediately. So that's pretty cool. So the 4 bola, more energy marker creation, and that. You've got all of these. Now in this list, this is the cool thing, because I can do a whole video breaking down like this kind of topic, subverting expectations to make meta calls in your favor. We've all seen aggro baby, and the way we kind of go about aggro baby is not wanting them to awaken, taking the energy marker away from black, right? Well, when you run Glorio, for instance, if you take the energy marker away, if you give the energy marker to yourself because you're playing against black, then Glorio punishes you, right? But if you are on the next level and you go, okay, I'm gonna play a 2-drop, or I'm gonna play a 1-drop burning the energy marker, that in some cases is even worse, because you just lost the only advantage to going second. You didn't attack them because you don't want to awaken them, and you burned your marker because you don't want them to hit you with the Glorio. So you got to go second, but what was the purpose of it? You didn't get the extra draw, and you didn't even get to keep your marker. So this deck is very good at forcing you into an uncomfortable position from the get-go, and then sitting you in a space where you're like, wow, Okay. And then if you treat this deck like a normal aggro baby and you give it time to set up, this is where this deck out advantages you. You have the super baby, who some people doubted, but he is going to be able to search for mainly trunks and whatever other pieces you need if you already have the trunks to make sure that you can keep that drop full for the trunkses. He's a 10k, so he can be comboed well even when he's rested and you're awakened. And on top of that, he's also a machine mutant, of course, so you can bring him back with trunks. You can literally play trunks and get back a searcher, and if they don't pressure you enough to tap all your energy, you can play the searcher again. This card is monsters, but you can kind of see how this is. Most people will play against this deck thinking it's aggro baby, and it'll play directly into the scheme of this deck of giving it time to set up, make an almost indestructible hand. I played against Emil in the final round of our pod in the side events, and the last turn of the game, like, he maintained 10 or 11 cards in hand for 4 turns in a row, despite me clearing his board every turn and swinging into him every turn. And then when I did swing into him, I lined up 3 30k shots, and then my super combo, or my leader, and I shotgunned up. And when I was lining up the 30k shots, it was super combo, super combo, super combo, and then I hit him for 55 on my leader, and he dropped all of his cards, but I think 30k in hand. Now, I did, unfortunately, draw for turn. I got damaged into a 0, got a 0 when I played Daima Goku from my life, and then got a 0 when I swung with my leader. So I was drawing bricks, but even so, like, you amass so many cards, and you keep cycling the same combo power. When you want to turn things sideways, they're all going for 30, so you're just chipping your opponent's hand. And no current deck in the game, outside of maybe green in that late game, can contend with this in terms of combo power and how much you're able to push out of their hand while gaining in your own. So very, very good list. All right, glazing session over. I just had to let y'all know. Now we're going to go over to Natty Light. I believe he made it all the way up to the finals for a very almost canon bout of GT Goku versus Baby. But yeah, I also said on my tier list, now the one thing I will say I got wrong in my tier list at the last moment, because my initial build, like, I think even in the video, I had all of the black decks in the first tier, because I think all of them just will top. But then I was like, I'm moving Baby down because I was testing more of the Rildo version, and I saw some inconsistencies and some ways for that deck to lose. And so I put it down to can top. But I wasn't exactly hip to the mid-range version to its fullest degree until I got to the event and was able to play against it in the LCQs, like talk about it the night before, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, Baby should have been the top. So right here, you do have GT though, which I did say was a deck. I think GT and Bardock are just like right there, neck and neck. I want to play GT more than I want to play Bardock, but I do understand that Bardock gets his effect pretty much every single turn, every turn after he's awakened, whereas Goku only gets his effect a couple times per game to see when it matters. It's more of the fact that you have the thing about him is that you have the, well, I was gonna say you have the pan, but I'm actually looking at this and I guess I'm just blown away because there are no new Goku cards. Again, he made it to the finals of nationals, so I can't say anything about this deck list, right? The only thing I can say is that yes, I do like the 3 Gotens for removal, but I am surprised at the deck list because if you don't run the 1-drop pan or the 4-drop Goku, I don't see what you do, why you would play this over Bardock. That's just my personal opinion. It's not a slight, it's not anything, and I want to especially say that Natty Light played out of his mind, and that, like, congratulations on your number 2 slot. I'm just a little confused on what made you choose. If you ever see this video, just comment in the description what made you choose GT over Bardock, if there's not any GT Goku support here. But yeah, this is pretty much like the standard aggressive tempo list, and I am here for it. Now we're gonna go over to Fallen Nuyen. This is actually pretty funny because I faced him in the first round of the LCQs. I played androids for nationals. I played Goku Daima, more of an aggressive tempo list for the, like, more of an aggressive list for the LCQs. And I don't know if it was just the draws, but we basically, like, he awakened at kind of a mid to low hand size. And what really broke our match was at that time in Daima, I was running 3 secret rares instead of the 4 I currently run now. And he saw 2 secret rares after a Frieza and I saw 0 secret rares. I did charge one because I opened it up in my opening hand, and my hand I felt like was perfect, and that is messed up because I thought with 2 I'd see at least 1. I wasn't exactly the wisest there. But he played on curve the Frieza, and I had to get rid of it. Then he played the secret rare, and I had to get rid of it. Then he played the 3rd secret rare, and I had to get rid of it. And by then, my hand was so blown because you know how red is pretty much using... To get rid of 40Ks, you're getting rid of like 2 to 3 cards sometimes. By the time that was over, and my board getting clapped twice by the secret rare, I had nothing left in the tank and pretty much folded under him. But yeah, like when I saw the name, I was like, Beerus, and I was like, oh man, yo, no, I played against him. So this is interesting to me. The TOP I never would have really saw in Beerus, but I guess that does allow you to... The worst part about Beerus is the card that you can feel that you're missing from your hand, and this doesn't allow you to do that as much. You have what right now 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 16 cards that take life. TOP Arena at 4 is massive, but he just clearly wants to see it. I'm a big fan of starting every single red deck I make with 4 Fuwa, 4 Gohan, and 3 God Kamehameha, and then working from there. This is just really cool, the Frieza card, because you're gonna go up to you're basically just gonna have a 45k beater, and he can't be removed, so he's just a threat, and he's going to essentially double your leader skill if he survives at every turn after that. So I think that this deck it's cool for what it does. I don't mind it. You have enough U7s to where what he's playing Shin, so Shin can pick up what I think Shin can pick up himself. I don't think Shin says no because he could. Yeah, he needs to be able to pick up the super combo. So Shin can pick up 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 11 14 15 16 17 18 19 23 plus this, so 27 cards of your deck can be picked up off the top 3, which is a little lower than I thought it would be, but I'm also still not mad about it. The one thing that is kind of weird about this for me are the amounts of 0Ks, because this deck straight up just has like 1 2 3 4 5 9 and then what, 12, so 16 zeros. That's like green levels of zeros, and that's interesting to me. But like I said, he got there. Congratulations, Fallen Nuyen, and it was awesome playing you in the LCQs. The next deck we have here is Miru. That's Andrew Devol, and you can see this list is very, very, very close to Emil's, but Emil and I definitely agree. I'm not a fan of Resisting Destiny, and that's just my fault. I've just never really liked... I charge it if I see it in my opening hand. I'm weird like that, but I don't like it, but I do like the bolas. And I think in Devol's list, which you will see in the description, if I know your list, if I know you put up a video, I'll put it in the description so people can go over there, go check them out. And realistically, if you're watching this video, go just comment it. I will update my description to have your deck profile in here if you have top 16 and you're like, hey, I actually put up a video. I want to spread that love, you know. So yeah, but he said that he would take out the Gohan and he put in the Bola. And realistically, if you're taking out the Gohan, you're probably leaving out remaining Resisting Destiny 2, because you're never gonna be able to free play it. And this deck can get pretty energy intensive. So yeah, I do think that like these two, I can see those going, but yeah, I'm just not really a fan of that one. But yeah, this is the exact same strategy. Emil apparently built the deck, the whole team practiced it, broke it down, and made sure that it was as tight as it could be. So yeah, I'm down for that. And congratulations, Devol, for winning the entire event and becoming the only national champion for both Masters and Fusion World. And he might, we gotta see, but he might become the only world champion for Fusion World and Masters. So that's crazy. Now we're over here for Grixis. This is an Android list. I will be as unbiased as I can possibly be. This is so night and day from the Android list that the G3 boys from Canada, Raymond, myself, my new homie Chad, we all ran a list that was very, very close. And this is very different. This is a straight, pretty much Androids. I think there's only what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 17, and I guess we have to go 20, 24. So there are 24 cards in this deck. So half your deck can be picked up off of this top 3 search. I'm really mad that they don't let us search up to any Android card when Shin allows you to search any U7, but whatever. Anywho, yeah, 4 of these. And then, so 26 cards in your deck can be picked up by this. And then with the Dr. Gero can literally pick up, oh no, more than that, because she can pick up him too. So yeah, I guess like 29. So yeah, almost 30 cards. 30 cards in your deck can be picked up. And then you have this guy, the Gero, they can pick up 8, 12, 14, 18, 21 cards off the top of your deck. So we're here for it. There are 2 cards in here, Nappa and Warm Greeting. Those were mistakes and should have never been given a green. A 30k on turn 2 is not unheard of. You've got Daima Goku if you're Awakened, but a 30k on turn 3 that's ramping you at the same time, bro, get it out of here. Like, this card was a mistake, and he should have straight up said Sand Leader only. And this is coming from a person who tested and piloted androids well, in my opinion. In this event, this is a mistake. And this is also a mistake. Green has ways to out cards that can protect themselves from KOing. Yellow needed a way to deal with Jiren. Jiren SR still almost invalidates an entire color, while green is getting Warm Greeting because whatever, we ball. But I definitely like this list. It's cool. If you're gonna stick with the Android only package, I do think that this is what that looks like. You have a whole bunch of androids. This is all going to work. You have the Vegeta. I've been odd about Vegeta. You do play him. You do ramp easy. It doesn't have to come from your hand. It doesn't have to come from your life. Well, sorry. And it doesn't come from the top of your deck. It comes from your drop. So that means that you're never going to put a surprise card from your life or your deck with this card. You can control that. And then if you have a dead card in hand, you can always discard it to pop something 2 or less, which is still a fair amount of the field. So I'm not mad about this. It's being a 4 cost too. Outside of bouncing it, which they may not want to do because he can ramp you again, outside of bouncing it, you can't really like hurt him in black. And so one of the little instances that I like with this is that when they have Trunks up and you play this and you ramp from 4 to 5 and you just discard a card and you pop Trunks, if they don't reestablish Trunks the following turn, you can then charge from 5 to 6 and then play androids and start really ripping their board to shreds. So I think that's a little cool interaction. Now, going over to the next deck, you have Dane. Dane Reich. He played Daima Goku, and I'm a fan of Daima Goku as well. I'm a fan of it. Dane, it shouldn't surprise anybody. Dane built this like a Masters deck. There's 1-ofs, there's 2-ofs, but I mean, he's got these 6 cantrips, technically 8 if you count this blocker leader. That's also a 2k. 2 Cauliflas, and that's interesting. I think that Caulifla pressure early game can really break a lot of backs because you deny them advantage and then you just bust them up with your removal later on. But you can see these. You get the 4 Margaritas. They're flexible. I believe Dane said that he would put Whis up to 4, and I will put his deck list profile in the description too, along with Devol's. And like I said, I'm reminding you guys again, I want to spread the love. If I don't know your video, let me know your video so I can put it in here. But the 2 Fua, Dane, please, I'm gonna watch your video later, but I want to know what the 2 Fuas is for, because I feel like, especially in like Daima, you swear by 4, but obviously you piloted it to 3rd in Swiss with an X1 finish. This Vegeta at 2, you've got the GOAT in SPR form. This card I've been an advocate for the moment it came out. Like when I got mine at Gen Con, I was able to get 3. I immediately traded for a 4th one. I've had my playset because I wanted to use it in the U7 just for fun, but it's found its home in Daima. It really has. If your opponent if you don't have a target to destroy that turn, you just slap this bad boy down, swing for 30, draw 1. Excellent pressure, cantripper, very, very nice. There's enough cards to support Kefla, so you have Kefla. The one of Jiren is a bit of a tech. I guess it's sticky in certain matchups, like against yellow, and you can draw an extra card per turn by using his effect, so that's cool. 1 Double Striker. You guys will probably see that in decks where you are running 4 SS or 4 UI Goku, you're generally beating them through attrition. You're clapping their board, poking them with 40s, poking them with 30s, and then eventually they just fold into the pressure. So you don't often just play out Goku and just hit him with the shotgun double strike. So the option is there, but it's not like that's the craziest. Then you've got the Kabas right there, super combos. It's Over is an amazing card because it's Over. You just need a 30k to be able to play it, and everything 25k or less gets blown up. Well, congratulations. For 5 energy, you can do that with Gohan. For 5 energy, you can do that with Goku here. With 5 energy, or with 6 energy, you can do that with Kefla. Heck, with 4 energy, you can do that with Daima Goku, especially if you use Daima Goku to awaken. But yeah, like that's honestly just wild. As long as you have your leader skill active, you can use It's Over with 4 energy, 5 energy, or 6 energy to pretty much bust the entire field. And it gets different depending on what your field setup is. Whis on the field extend the range. If you have like Gohan on the board, you could attack something that's 35, bring it down to 20, use your leader to pump, well, you use your leader to pump Gohan minus a 30 to a 25, then swing with Gohan to minus a 35 to a 20, and then you can play It's Over and pop everything on their board. And that is where the value comes through. Now, some people were confused about Saved by a Barrier, but Saved by a Barrier is essentially to reverse the polarity of the Son Goku war. But it only works, of course, if you can keep your Son Goku, or if you cast your Son Goku secret rare as a on a turn 7 with 7 energy. Because what you would do is you play it, you minus the 20, you do your dirt, you eradicate their board, and then after you're done eradicating their board, you are then able to hold this up, and when they swing into it, you can activate Saved by a Barrier. It is now a 20k, but chances are if they just tap 6, they are not playing a singular card that is going to be able to matter enough to affect this. They won't be able to play God Kamehameha after that. They have it. They won't be able to play It's Over at 6 or 7 energy. So chances are if you play Saved by a Barrier on your Goku, it's going to literally be Saved by a Barrier. And the only thing worse than that is you following up with another Goku on your turn, swinging once to get rid of any negation they have, and then swinging again to get rid of their whole secret rare to begin with. And then they have to focus on how many secret rares they can get off of you next turn. And this is literally the Broly of Red. If it is uncontested and another one lands, you're probably cooked. And you spend an entire turn trying to get rid of one of these. So that is pretty much that. Shout outs to Dane. Once again, deck list profiles in the description. Now we're going to go over to TKtop. This is the all aggro version of Buu. There is not a singular card that says, oh, hold up, stop, chill for a minute. No, it's punching, punching, punching. You have the 4 Majin Buu Self-Awakeners. You've got the 4 Bulmas, but it's like literally she's his ride or die. But if she dies, she dies. Like, he's going to let this go to the trash or the drop. He's not going to care. But it's going to get him a card, and it's going to help awaken him. A lot of people are worried about, like, or wondering what Banan does and why, because there's no Frieza army here. But essentially, he's a 10k combo, which the deck sorely misses. And in the early stages of the game, playing him and then swinging for 15 and untapping him is going to be how you push cards into your opponent's hand, how you pressure their hand, how you pressure them in general, but then force them to still attack your leader. So yeah, Banana is actually really, really cool, and I liked how that played. Doug, my homie Doug, I think was beaten by TKtop because he thought they were in a stalemate, and then he hit 2 supernovas for game on the combo, even though Doug had a fair amount of combo in his hand. But yeah, 2 supernovas is going to be kind of gas on almost anything. So yeah, very, very good. Shout out to TKtop. And then we have the top finals list. When I tell you 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, to be fair, his list and I are different from like about, I think, 8 cards because there's Raditz. Otherwise, it would have been 4 cards. But it really is just his Raditz. So the thing about this is, one of the things that we kind of keyed in on is that your combo value gets weaker and weaker as the game goes by, and that's normally where you get crushed. The other part is that the green mindset in most cases is that when you hit 8, you tap out for Broly, and that's not really the case. Using these cards, you're able to do so much more. Like on 8, 9 times out of 10, instead of just playing, a Broly, if I don't have to play the Broly, I would not like to. You can literally play droids and pop 2, then keep 2 energy up for EDK, and that allows you to now, when you use EDK to get rid of their biggest swing, you can check the card, and if you don't need it, you put it into energy. That way, next turn you charge up to 10, and now you can play Broly and still hold up for EDK. Now you can play Broly and play Hercule, and Hercule can get back 2 10Ks. you don't want to tap out and just leave yourself ready for the shotgun. So realistically, learning how to play around that is good. Healhan gives you more options. There have been times where I've just brought myself up to 5 so that I know that I have 2 turns of you dropping Vegito Secret Rare in blue, or I have 2 turns of this, or I have some extra cushion versus red. It's just so good to be able to do that. He does like the one of Roshi, so if he charges any of these 3, he can play Roshi and get them back. I think that not playing Warm Greeting, there's less of a reason, but you do charge these early. You do charge the cells Kamehamehas early because they're an android, and then they can count towards your 4 droids. The one thing I heavily disagreed with, well, 2 things I heavily disagreed with. I could not get behind Raditz. We talked about this in, shoutouts to Judge Jerry, we talked about this in his house the night before Nationals. I could not get into Raditz. And that's just because I expected there to be a lot more Daima and Jiren, because you guys were going crazy on me when I said Jiren wasn't top tier and the UI was not top tier. So I expect there to be a lot of red at the event, and red will just minus these. So you would have to play him as a turn 4, and you want to be on curve to be playing things like your androids at turn 4. So I just didn't like Raditz. I was like, how often am I going to be like, dang, I wish my human survived so I could play Raditz. The other thing that we talked about, and we kind of just agreed to disagree, was Warm Greeting. I think that Warm Greeting is still necessary. I ran 3 in my list. You can charge it, you can discard it with Bulma if you don't need it, but at the end of the day, if your opponent goes coin Jiren on turn 3, and then turn 4 they charge and they play second Jiren, what do you do against that as an android deck? You are actively cooked. Like, you got rid of 1 Jiren by playing Big Bang Attack and Son Gohan, or Big Bang Attack Broly. This current list has no ability to get over Jiren outside of swinging on it, letting them draw 2, getting up high enough for the attack to go through, and then having to push through again. Now, I did find it funny that, like, Raymond did play against a Jiren player, and the Jiren player did not play Jiren's because he was like, oh, he just got Warm Greeting too. So, hey, that is that. We can't hate on that. But yeah, I would rather be safe than sorry, and I would rather play Warm Greeting. When I played, I did lose against the gentleman that won with Yellow Vegeta at Texas. That was our second game, so he got the dub on me. So we're 1-1. Crow, I'm talking to you. We're 1-1 right now. But legitimately, I got literally stuck behind a Vegeta 3. I charged 1 Warm Greeting because I was like, I got 1 more. My hand had perfect ramp in it, like double droids, double Nappa, and a Broly. And so I was like, I'll charge this Warm Greeting and I'll pick up another one later. I got 2. I'm going to be drawing a lot. I'm going to see a lot, awakening early. And then I played my Nappa and it flipped my second out of 3 Warm Greetings, and I just realized I probably wasn't ever seeing that card again. And I got stuck behind the Vegeta and that cascaded. So yeah, like, I do think that Warm Greeting is a necessary card. But yeah, those are the lists. And when you go over to the bracket, right? So real quick, I just kind of want to go over the bracket real quick. I have it pulled up on the screen, and it's actually kind of interesting because a lot of this stuff makes sense. Like, the players, you have to understand that by the time you get to this point, all these players are like vetted. All these players are playing at the top of their game for the most part, outside of like human error every now and then, you know, the slight misplay, the slight oversight after playing so many rounds and being tired. But like, some of these matchups, they really do make sense. You look at the top, randoms versus DBS guide. The androids list that we are all pretty much running the same core of, if you can get to 6 energy, you stabilize. 9 times out of 10, you stabilize against these aggressive tempo decks. You're able to start gaining the combo power back with Hercule, blowing up cards with androids 17 and 18, playing Healhan to gain life back and stabilizing. Once you get to 8, you're also able to do that while gaining the Hercule stuff back, while keeping EDK up. While you get to 10, you're able to play offensively. You have 4 energy up for combo power / defense, and you have 8 energy or 6 energy for a forward momentum play. A turn where you play tap 6 for Healhan, like if they don't play anything special and you tap 6 for Healhan, like swing with the leader for 30k. Let me see a super combo or something. Healhan, gain a life, swing again. Hercule, get 2 cards back. Bulma, draw a card, keep 2 energy up, 3 energy up. These are the turns where your opponent will not be able to break through. The best they can do is try to mitigate your board, and then you're still in a position where you can play Broly and keep up energy after that. So I can see that. I can see that literally busting out right there. Then you've got Emil. versus Leak Kitchen. That says Son Goku F-Bot? Son Goku. Why am I? Why? Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is like kind of wild because I did not peg like Emil as the loser here. However, with the list we saw, there's a lot of while Emil's baby list is going to amass hand and generate advantage, the Hercule City list is like super tempo. It can be very aggressive. And between girls with short hair, between your Videls, you're cycling your cards. Cards will leave your hand just to come right back the following turn. And I can see that being a lot. And now these decks don't run Sickle, but Gohan also does run very, very well into this matchup. And when you have cards like Hercule in the mix in Orange City High School, you have the ability. I mean, you're not really like busting off of the top because you can't really like reset. I mean, girls with short hair does reset, so that still works. But when you have cards like Hercule and you have the ability to reduce the effects and then play Gohan, you can handle the board pretty well while maintaining your advantage. So yeah, I didn't see that coming, but it doesn't surprise me with the makeup of the deck. Then you have Android 17 versus another Son Goku. And yes, while that deck, High School can have a pretty decent matchup versus certain things, I think Grix's Nicholas Nash, it's Nicholas Nash in Neat Kitchen, right? Yeah. I really do think that like that is a point where we kind of see you have green versus blue, and while I think that High School is probably got one of the best chances of beating green, because you can actually go very, very, very wide. Lots of people aren't playing the SCR right now. You're recycling combo value quite a bit. I do think that like at the end of the day, when green stabilizes against blue, and it's just like it's almost always a wrap. It's still an uphill battle. You've got Devol versus Mindas. So Baby Vegeta versus Stardeck Vegeta. Unfortunately, I'm just not sure if blue is in the best. Like Vegeta is a safe pick. I don't think he's a great pick. We just didn't see any like of like it last format it translated so many more times, and here we have one of the top 16. Speaking of things that didn't translate, Jiren. No punchline to that. It's just Jiren. I'll move on now. Jokes aside, you've got Majin Buu Evil with TKtop versus my homie Doug, Baby Vegeta. Both decks are trying to aggro. I think the unfortunate part for Doug is that Majin Buu is aggroing with hand destruction. You guys are both playing out cards to be able to press the opponent, but while Trunks is able to get 2 cards back while being comboed for pressure, Buu and Babidi are able to discard 2 cards while Buu is still swinging for pressure. And on top of that, if you've already swung with the leader, then you're swinging with the leader again and Buu. So I think that when they start trading their best combos back and forth, you really start seeing Baby lose that advantage war if it's the aggro version. And then I know from him personally, I think in game 1 or game 2, he thought that he had enough hand to survive the next turn and then go. And then his opponent had both supernovas in hand, just blew out the game right then and there. So that makes sense. Then you have Natty Light, Son Goku GT versus Majin Buu Evil. Kind of the same thing, except Natty Light is playing more of the tempo mid-range, so he's got a little more destruction weave in there with 10 times Kamehamehas and whatnot, and so you're probably going to have some times where the board is white multiple times between Bardock, 10 times Kamehameha, it's controlled, he's got the pars, so he's probably going to be able to keep that down. I can see that. With Bardock, you do get a lot of cards in hand, so even if you discard 2, sometimes it's just like, okay, bro, come with it, 2 5Ks, what it do? So I can see that too. Then you got Dane versus Baby Vegeta. Now, Tony himself, I think ran, let me see what kind of list he ran. Tony himself ran, let's see, Gabriel ran, okay, so Tony ran the mid-range. I had a lot of testing last night, before, today when I had to get on the plane. And I also faced Emil, in the side event in the final round. Daima has a surprisingly okay matchup versus that. Now, to get to that finals in the second to last round, I faced one of my homies that was staying at the crib with me, and he was playing Emil's list. and I was able to beat him. But then I played Emil, and then I lost a close game. So that tells me that it's there. It's there. The matchup can be there. I think Baby still has the edge in that matchup. Actually, we did have some testing last night, a lot of it, and that was kind of like, we figured out a couple things that I want to keep in the back of my mind for these Daima celebration events real quick, or on the Patreon if you guys are listening to this right now and you just want to hear me put it out. But just gotta give you some secrets until I have my gold Goku and gold Vegeta, and then you know, we out here. But I think the matchup is way closer than most people would think, so I can see that. Dane is a very good pilot, and on top of that, I do think that Son Goku Daima has a close to 50-50 with it. And you have Fallen Union Beerus versus Gabriel Aguilar's Baby Vegeta, and Baby Vegeta should be able to tempo it. Like, Beerus doesn't have the cards at the beginning. Its best thing is the crit, but do you want to awaken Aggro Baby? If you do, you're probably going to get ran over, and I'm sure that's what actually happened. I need to watch some of this stream, mind you. I'm so sorry, because I was in the middle of playing. Well, not playing. That day I was in the middle of side events and whatnot and just trying to get stuff done. But then you got randoms versus kitchen. So that's yeah, green, once again, green versus high school, and that just kind of was, unfortunately, the matchup is not quite there. And I know both these players are skilled, but it's like when you have two evenly skilled players or around relative skill, and then one has a significantly worse matchup into it, that's just a lot to surmount. Then you've got the pure androids versus Baby. I am not going to hold you. I know Grixis's list is like tight and it's like traditional, like set one androids with spice. I'm not just trying to glaze the list that we were coming up with, but without like the list that's more like randoms over Grixis, I don't see how you beat Baby necessarily late game or early game. Like, we spend so much of our combo power staying alive, and then all that combo power essentially comes back or is like compensated for with EDKs and Hercule package. So I'm not quite sure how that works with his list, but I just feel like late game you just get ran over by the 30Ks that keep coming at you. Then you have TKtop versus Natty Light, and once again, like, he just faced Majin Buu Evil with more utility. Now that it's just like get in the middle of the ring and let's let it bang, you have this like position where, yes, you guys are going back and forth, but you don't have the same utility. You're not, if he plays two secret rares, you are not popping them both with a final explosion, and you have list access, so he knows you can't do that. So he's going to be able to build up his board and just run you over. Then you've got Dane versus Gabriel, and once again, even though Daima does draw more cards than Beerus, I think that at the end of the game, red starts dwindling on cards, whereas black, especially Baby with the Trunkses, can potentially start going up on cards. And when you factor that in, plus the fact that you have the list, you can see each other's lists, but you don't necessarily know the playstyle unless you've actually played against the deck or you've had somebody kind of clue you in. So depending on how Dane took this matchup, if he tried to approach the awakening slowly, he might have just given Gabriel like too much time to get up to energy, because that is also something about the aggro matchup. Sometimes you can starve them and then they awaken by playing like two self-awakeners, and then they just go up the chain twice and you just get swung on so many times, it's like you just can't do anything with it. Now in the semifinals, you got Randoms versus Miru, and Randoms versus Miru is like, yeah, that was rough. I saw it wasn't on stream. I wish it was on stream, but you did have the androids versus Baby, and again, one of the issues here is I need to talk to Raymond, because you can't treat Emil, Devol, Jonathan's list like a normal aggro Baby deck. If you don't awaken them, they are, for the most part, pretty fine with just stockpiling cards and then letting it happen over time and then going at it. So even though Devol didn't run the Bolus, he still ran the 3 Super Saiyan 4 Gokus and the Trunkses. So he was going to awaken at some point, and if you just give us the time, like, if you give us the time, we'll get to our ramp, but like, it's still not like, it can get rough. I'm just saying that, it can get rough. So that's a toss-up for them. They're both excellent players, but yeah, like, I do think that Devol had the advantage in that one, especially if the particular list was not tested, because it took a little learning curve. I had to relearn Baby based off the mid-range list versus the aggro list. Then you have Natty Life versus Gabriel. That's literally just Son Goku GT versus the aggro version. I would love, this is the one that was on stream, and I honestly, guys, like chat, I'm not gonna talk. I never talk about things that I don't know about. This one I need to see, because I would like to think that Gabriel out aggro's GT's value. But obviously that did not happen, so I need to see the match myself. And then Miru versus Natty Light, that was another one where they both went back and forth. And game one, I believe, was extremely close. There's a little controversy going on right now. But Devol's deck is built to outvalue the amount of value that Natty Life can get. So, like, it's like, between everything that's going on, he has a better access to Gotens and whatnot. So he's probably never letting Super Saiyan 4 stick for too long. He's going to be playing the promo to get his cards back in hand. I just feel like it's probably a better matchup for Devol than it is Natty. But I will watch the stream, go back and watch the stream so I can have even more insight to that in the future. So yeah, let's go to the closing real quick. So yeah, I know that was long. I wanted to not just like show the deck list. I wanted to break things down. I wanted to dive into them. And so I hope you guys appreciated that. I am going to be doing a pivot when it comes to Patreon content, because I really do want to make sure that like I do turn it into, like, Nat's testing was really, really fun. And I learned a lot of things from how I was doing the content on that side. And I want to make sure that I can do an even distribution between this channel and the Patreon, but also really give the Patreon that extra oomph. Because I dare I say, hear me out. If you're watching the Patreon, I think we broke some ground. I think we broke some ground going to nationals. It was really, really pivotal to like how your run went, or like the decisions that you made before you even sat down at the table and whatnot. So we're gonna have fun with that. I'm gonna be doing a lot more on this channel now that the season's kind of dying down a little bit. We're gonna have a lot of fun, but I am excited, and I hope to see you guys in more videos. Check out the description for all the deck profiles of the people that I could find on YouTube. And if you want to check me out for my general Dragon Ball channel, just go over to Universe X Media in the description as well and check that out as well. So yeah, see ya in the next one.